Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. You who are listening to this message, know this. What you are experiencing right now is not a coincidence. There are things in your life that are moving, situations that change without warning, silences that become heavy, signs that your heart feels, but that no one around you seems to notice. You are not crazy. You are not lost. You are in transition. A transition to what Allah has always known about you, but which you have not yet fully discovered. There comes a time in a servant's life when Allah no longer just protects him, He decides to involve him. Not in just anything. Not in a simple visible action, but in something profound, weighty, transformative. Implication divine. And once it starts, there is no going back. This message is for those whom Allah has silently chosen. Those who have survived invisible wounds. Those who never stopped believing while everything around them was crumbling. This is not just a video you are watching, it is a call. A reminder. A spiritual alert. You are about to be involved in a plan that will be beyond you, but for which you have been prepared without even knowing it. Do you sometimes feel like you don't belong in this world? That your sensitivity is too strong? That you see too much that others ignore? You carry within you layers of faith, lucidity, and pain that no one understands. But Allah, He understands. He has seen everything, and He has weighed everything. The chosen ones are not those the world acclaims. They are those whom Allah prepares in the shadows. Those whom He wounds, shapes, breaks, and rebuilds. You are one of them. And now He says to you, get ready. Because what is coming will not be light. It will not be a simple promotion, a simple change, a simple appeasement. It will be a total involvement, a repositioning. A responsibility that will change the way you see life, walk, talk, and fight. You will no longer be able to ignore what you feel. You are prepared by your pain, your silence, your trials. You were selected by betrayals, humiliations, losses. You were washed by tears that no one saw. And today, Allah looks at you and says, He's ready. She's ready. So listen to the end. For in every word, there is a truth that your heart will recognize. You are not a mere believer. You are elected on the move. And what awaits you will involve you like never before. You think you've been forgotten, but in reality, you've been chosen. Chosen for a work you don't yet fully understand. The people around you may see you as ordinary, but Allah set you apart long ago. He watched you in silence. He saw you struggle quietly. And when others abandoned their faith or their commitment, you remained, even when tired, even when weakened. It is not by chance that you feel this weight. It is not an illusion that you feel targeted by things that no one notices. It is because Allah has selected you for something greater, something deeper. An involvement in His plan, not yours. Allah's chosen ones do not receive golden invitations or visible crowns. They first receive the invisible. The spiritual burden, the inner discomfort. That strange sensation that we are no longer aligned with our surroundings. That feeling that the life we lead is no longer enough. And this is not a coincidence. It is a calling. When Allah wants to involve one of His servants in a divine project, He begins by isolating him, not to punish him, but to cleanse him. To protect him from noise, distractions, illusions. He gently removes him from the world, breaks off certain relationships, closes certain doors. And the servant does not always understand. He cries. He asks, he sometimes shouts, but Allah remains silent. The silence is a mercy. Because it is the beginning of a construction. Look at the prophets. None of them were involved in the divine mission without going through a stage of effacement. Ibrahim was rejected by his people. Musa fled into the desert. Yusuf experienced abandonment, imprisonment, and rejection. And our beloved Muhammad was isolated in the cave of Hira before the first verse was revealed. Why? Because before you can carry a message, you must carry a void. A void that only Allah can fill, and you may be experiencing this void right now. You may not understand why things are falling apart around you, why you no longer feel the peace you once had, why you suddenly feel outside the box. It's because the box you were in no longer fit you. Allah expands you. He involves you, but not in a man's way, not with noise, not with spotlights. He involves you in His invisible wisdom, the one that changes souls, that frees hearts, that purifies intentions. What He expects from you now is not to understand everything, it is to trust. For when He calls you to walk in the invisible, it is because He has already secured what is ahead. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to know everything. You just need to surrender to what He shows you. Even if it's strange, even if it's uncomfortable, even if you don't know how to explain it to others. Because what you're experiencing can't be talked about. It can be carried, and Allah wouldn't have entrusted it to you if He hadn't deemed you capable. So stand up within yourself and say, "Oh Allah, I do not understand everything, but I trust in you." And from that moment on, you will no longer be a mere believer. You will be a servant involved in an eternal plan. You don't see it coming as a grand announcement. It's not a spectacular event. There's no lightning in the sky, no voice in the air, no angel descending in public. But inside you, something is changing. You don't know how to explain it to others, but you feel it deeply. Your heart is silent where it once stirred. You are less interested in empty discussions, in fleeting pleasures, in the things you loved only yesterday. You smile, you participate, but deep down, you are no longer there. It's as if your soul has already begun to migrate. And so it begins. Divine involvement manifests itself not in shouts, but in silences. In a newfound lucidity. A strange ability to see the vanity of this world and to sense that something immense is approaching. You lie awake at night without understanding why. You feel an inner calling when you're alone. You're overwhelmed by thoughts you didn't seek out. You relieve past pain as if Allah wants to speak to you about it again. He doesn't punish you. He opens your eyes. He put you on gentle alert. He lit a light in your heart. Not so that you would look at others, but so that you would look at yourself. So that you would understand that your time to be involved is near. These are inner signs, but they are more powerful than any external vision. Sometimes it's that strange dream you never forget. Sometimes it's that random word you overheard that pierces you. Sometimes it's that coincidence that strikes you exactly at the moment you're wondering. And then, you know that Allah speaks to you, not with words, but with actions, with feelings, with events that have meaning only for you. And all of this converges into a single message. Get ready, I'm going to involve you like never before. And your heart understands this message before your mind. You feel a gentle tension, both fear and peace, both worry and excitement. This is normal. It's a sign that your heart is waking up from a long sleep. You're not here by mistake. You didn't suffer for nothing. You didn't go through this season of emptiness for no reason. You didn't pray, fast or cry in the dark for it all to end in oblivion. No. You are being put in posture. Allah is putting you where you need to be so that you'll be ready when the real call comes. He's removed you from certain situations. He's kept you away from certain people. He's closed certain doors. And you didn't understand. But now you're beginning to see. Because you weren't created to blend in with the crowd. You were fashioned to be a landmark. And a landmark isn't made on the surface. It's carved in the depths, in the shadows, in patience, in solitude. If you are feeling all this today, it is not a passing crisis. It is an inner activation, a divine preparation. You don't need to run away. You don't need to hide your feelings. You just need to listen to them and connect them to the one who causes them. For Allah never leaves a servant in trouble without a purpose. When He stirs you from within, it is because He is about to install you in something heavy, noble, heavenly, and your heart is already beginning to feel it. Do not believe that your silence is empty. Do not think that your isolation is forgetfulness. Everything you experience in the shadows, everything you feel in the secret of your soul, is part of the training. You did not know it, but Allah has already enrolled you in a school that only the invisible recognizes. A school without walls, without blackboards, without uniforms, but where every tear becomes a lesson, every test a training. Allah trains His soldiers in silence. He doesn't give them medals right away. He begins by stripping them. He takes away what they cling to. He narrows the circles. He closes human exits. And in this apparent impasse, He works the heart. He polishes the soul. He strengthens the interior. You may have experienced humiliations, losses, and breakups that no one understood. You were told, it's nothing, but inside you, it was immense. You cried alone. You prayed without an answer. You moved forward without direction. But every step you took in that darkness was noted. Every pain you bore in silence was counted. Every act of patience you performed without witnesses was elevated. It wasn't empty. It was a program, a training, a deep inner self. Allah doesn't choose His soldiers from those who shine in public. He chooses them from those who stand tall when everything else falls apart. From those who continue to pray even when their hearts are broken. From those who say, Alhamdulillah, even when they have nothing left. You weren't cast aside. You were set apart. The greatest missions are born in the deepest silences. Look at the Prophet Muhammad. Before the revelation, it was the cave, the desert, withdrawal, a solitude that prepared the way for the greatest light. Look at Musa, the son of a slave girl, thrown into a basket, raised in Pharaoh's house, exiled far from his people, before returning with a message that would break oppression. This is how Allah works. He uproots the world's landmarks to anchor them in heavenly ones. He uninstalls comfort to build resistance. He closes human doors to open only one path, His own. If you lost, it's because He wants to teach you how to win differently. If you were hurt, it's because He wants to make you a healer. If you were alone, it's because He wants you to learn to need only Him. And when this training is almost over, you feel a gentle heaviness in your soul. You're no longer afraid, but you no longer want to joke either. You feel stable and fragile at the same time. Is the sign that you're ready, not to shine, but to carry. For to be involved with Allah is not to be elevated above others. It is to be entrusted with something that others do not see, but from which they will benefit. It is to be the custodian of a divine secret, an invisible mission, a living word. It is to walk in the world with a direction that only the heart recognizes. Don't minimize your past pain. Don't despise the days of darkness. For Allah used them to forge within you a heart ready to be a bridge, a beacon, a breath of fresh air for others. What you experienced was not in vain. This was the prelude to a heavenly involvement. And now you are entering the next stage. There is a time when Allah, after forming you in secret, decides to place you in the sight of others. It is not a spotlight as men seek. It is not a noisy glory. It is an exposition divine, discreet, but powerful, silent but unstoppable. And when that happens, it's not you who moves. It's Allah who makes you move forward. Allah's chosen ones don't seek recognition. They seek His face. And that is precisely why Allah elevates them. He has seen them abandon honors. He has seen them prefer solitude to toxic company. He has seen them refuse opportunities that would distance them from Him. And then He rewards them, not with gold, but with of the impact. You're going to feel this phase. It's unlike anything you've experienced before. These are no longer inner warnings, but outer movements. People are starting to approach you. Doors are opening without you asking for them. Your words are touching without you having prepared them. You feel like you're doing nothing, and yet everything is starting to move. Why? Because you are ready. Not ready by your standards, but ready by Allah's standards. He polished you. He corrected you. He raised you in silence. And now He is placing you in a greater responsibility. Maybe it will be in your family. Maybe in your community. Maybe in the heart of just one person whom you will change forever. It doesn't matter where. What matters is a spiritual mandate. When Allah wants you to be a landmark, He places you where you never thought you would be. He entrusts you with situations you would never have dared to bear. He puts within you a light that even you cannot understand. And that is when you recognize that it's not you, it's Him. You no longer seek to impress. You seek to be useful. You no longer seek to convince. You seek to serve. You no longer need to be right. You just want to do what is right. You become a channel. And that is exactly what Allah expects of you. This shift doesn't make a sound, but it changes everything. What you say begins to bear fruit. What you touch begins to blossom. What you do, however small, has an invisible impact. Because Allah is now with you, not just around you. And even if some don't understand you, even if others are jealous or ignore you, it no longer affects you. Because you no longer work for men. You are involved in a higher cause. You walk with a mission in your veins. You feel that every day counts, that every word has weight, that every silence is intentional. You have become a carrier, a bearer of light, of reminder, of faith, of depth. And even if the world around you sleeps, your soul, it, is awake. You are no longer in expectation. You are in accomplishment. Allah has not only prepared you to see, He has prepared you for act. Now that you are exposed by Allah, that your heart is awakened, that your soul is in motion, begins the stage that many dread: responsibility. Not the one that comes from men, but the one that comes from heaven. It is not a burden like the others. It is a divine deposit. A trust that your heart has accepted silently, but whose weight is felt in every breath. Being chosen by Allah is not just being guided. It is being mandated. It is carrying within you something that you cannot put aside. Even if you want to run away, even if you want to forget, you feel that a mission has been born within you. And this mission is Allah Himself, who has placed it in your heart. You wake up with thoughts that aren't your own. You feel pains that aren't your own. You carry the worries of others as if they were your own. You can no longer live for yourself. You are no longer centered on your personal comfort, for your soul has been expanded. You are now like a lamp in a dark room. You shine even when no one notices. You warm, even when others leave you alone. You move forward, even when everything around you seems frozen. Because divine involvement does not depend on human approval. It feeds on inner certainty. But this light comes at a price. You must be willing to walk without applause, to correct without being thanked, to warn without being listened to love without being returned. Because your reward is no longer on earth. It is written elsewhere, in the records of the Most High. And when Allah chooses someone to carry a piece of His wisdom, He gives them back resistant to injustice, enduring in solitude and sincere in every action. Your role is not to please, it is to transmit. Your goal is not to be famous, it is to be faithful. You no longer run after the immediate effect. You sow, even if the harvest will come after you. Because those whom Allah involves are light passers, they know that their duty is to act, not to see everything, and sometimes it will be a burden. Yes, this role will be a burden. You will want to lay down the burden, to return to a simple life. But your heart will not leave you. There is a new sensitivity within you, a permanent connection. You feel the silences of those who suffer. You hear the calls even when they are not expressed. But know this, Allah never entrusts a burden without offering strength. And you will not find this strength in your past, nor in your intellect, nor in your surroundings. You will find it in your connection with Him. It is in the secrecy of the night, in sincere prayers, in whispered invocations, that you will be strengthened. You will never be abandoned. Even if you fall, He will lift you up. Even if you doubt, He will enlighten you. Even if you cry, He will collect every tear. For now, you are among those He has chosen to higher function. You are one of His witnesses in this world, living proof that guidance still exists, that sincerity is not dead, that remembrance can heal, that faith can change a life. You are not just anyone. You are a sacred bearer, and in this way, Allah will walk with you, not before you, nor behind you, but in you. O Allah's chosen ones, understand this. You are not the product of chance. You did not appear by accident in a chaotic age. You were chosen, prepared, isolated, shaped for now. This world is troubled, unstable, torn apart by illusions. Hearts are emptying, souls are falling asleep. People are searching without knowing what they're looking for. They're losing themselves in screens, in luxury, in pretense. They are numerous, but alone. They are connected, but disconnected from what matters most. And it is in the midst of this confused generation that Allah has placed you, not as spectators, not as judges, but as tags. Living landmarks, beacon in the night, reminders at work. You don't need to shout. Your behavior speaks. You don't need to force it. Your presence is enough. You are like a tree planted in a burning desert. You offer shade to those who are suffocating. You offer meaning to those who no longer find it. You offer the remembrance of Allah to those who have everything but the essentials. What you are experiencing today is not for you alone. Your pain has shaped you to sympathize. Your trials have prepared you to console. Your silences have taught you true listening. You are the fruit of a divine program to serve a dying generation. But be careful. This role doesn't make you a master. It makes you a servant. A servant of the truth, a servant of the light, a servant of the Most High. And whenever you forget this, Allah will remind you. He does not want you to be exalted by pride, but to be exalted by service. You will sometimes be misunderstood. You will sometimes be rejected. You may even be fought against. But you will hold on because it's not your ego that's holding. It's your mission. And a mission held by Allah does not waver. It crosses generations, cultures, barriers. It is above the visible. So, hold on. Do not doubt. Do not look at your small number. For Allah always works with small numbers. He does not seek the crowd. He seeks sincere hearts. A handful of chosen ones can save hundreds. A single sincere reminder can transform a life. A single pure action can awaken a soul that has been asleep for years. And that is your role. Awaken, guide, hold, hope, pray, serve. You're not here to be applauded. You're here to make a difference. And Allah has already equipped you for that. He has placed within you treasures that you yourself are unaware of. And when the time is right, these treasures will reveal themselves like keys. Keys to open hearts, to untie fears, to light lanterns. Yes, chosen of Allah, you are the lanterns of a dark age. And even if the night seems long, it will end. Because the light of Allah never sleeps. It circulates through His servants. And you are one of them. Be ready. Because what you will experience next is not for your glory, but for His will.